We're out here today doing a comparison test between the brand new ProKennex Ki Q plus Tour Pro. Is it Tour Pro?
Yeah. Tour Pro.
We're out here today doing a comparative review between the new ProKennex Ki Q plus Tour Pro 305 1820 along with the new Wilson Blade 98 version 10 1820. Your thoughts on the specs, Troy?
So long name with this one, a little shorter with that one. But overall, this was a really fun comparison review because we've already tested these rackets individually, me and you both. And the specs are almost identical in every aspect. So they're both 98 head sizes, they're both 1820 string patterns, 305 grams unstrung. The average swing weights are very, very close, kind of in that mid 320 range. And both very flexible control type of frames. For string today, we strung them up exactly the same with Solinco Torbite 17 gauge, right at 50 pounds on a crank machine. So let's jump into how they felt comparing them side by side. The time we spend mostly on the court is at the baseline. What'd you think between the two?
Wow, it was a very easy transition. I know both of us really like these rackets. I've really gravitated towards this blade. It was a very easy transition for me to go to the ProKennex frame and back and forth with the blade. So again, you mentioned it's pretty soft. It's got a decently high swing weight, so you're able to get stability and power out of that. So it was very familiar. Shot depth was easy to control, as was direction. And unless you were totally throttling me with pace and spin, it was just pretty easy, comfortable ride from the baseline. What about you?
In terms of baseline, I thought I could play almost the same type of game with both rackets. They both gave me a lot of control. I would say in general, I've played more with 16-19 over the last, I don't know, say 4 or 5 years. So that's really the only thing with these two is just kind of getting used to that topspin potential, a little lower launch angle. But after about like 30 minutes of rallying with you, you learn to set your target a little higher over the net, at least I do. That's how I get used to it. I would say in general, I liked both pretty equally from the baseline. I like the feel of this one a little more soft, but kind of has like a crisp pop to it when you really swing after the ball. This one is like soft and then even more soft on top of that because of the Kinetic technology. It really has like a very muted feel to it, but very pleasurable at the same time. If anything, I felt like I got a little more power out of this one from the baseline. Maybe it's that Kinetic mass pushing through. So maybe I would just take that little benefit from this one.
You know, before going to volleys, I gotta ask you, because you have such a sweet backhand slice, did you prefer one racket over the other in terms of that shot?
Maybe on the backhand slice, just a little more feel from the blade. So if I'm being real nitpicky, I really like how that one felt on the slice. And then if I was taking pace off to hit a drop shot, but this one was super smooth and maybe gave me a little easier depth.
Duly noted. As far as at the net, I really felt like I had good command and control, very confident with either racket in my hand, whether it's a half volley and I'm just trying to, change direction and keep it soft, or whether I'm trying to end a point on a more offensive volley. It was just a very obedient and predictable experience with either racket. I will say that I probably preferred by a slight margin the blade at net, but it wasn't by much at all. I feel like, again, it's pretty interchangeable. I didn't have to switch my game the way I would from a 16-19 to an 18-20. It was just very easy going back from one to the other at net.
I think I would agree with you. I might go slightly more favorable with the blade. I might pick that one just a bit on volleys because of that feel. I think the feel aspect of the blade is what really sets it apart for me because they play so similar. Up at net, it just has that comfortable, nice pop on the ball for an 18-20. And even though it is comfortable, it does give you that little bit of crispness, like there's a little bit more firmness behind it. This one, like I said, is just like soft on top of soft because you got flex and then you have technology that mutes that. But I would say because of I've had some wrist issues over the years, this one's always a safe bet because I know my arm's protected with the Kinex and it's, like I said, flexible with the dampening, but the feel really won me over and the comfort was good. So from the volleys, what about when you're going over top with the serve? from the baseline?
You know what, I felt, especially if I had a thinner string, you know, kind of opens up the pattern a little bit. I feel like with these 1820 rackets, I get the best of both worlds. So was I getting a really easy grip on the ball? No, but I was able to get really good topspin, a little bit of action on my serve, not like your lefty serve, but it was pretty darn good. Enough to get me in points and, you know, set up the rest of the point and not have someone just take a good cut at my serve. So yeah, I really enjoyed both rackets. Again, I'm gonna kind of lean a little more in the direction of the blade, and that may just be because I'm more familiar with it.
Gotcha. For me, when it came to serve, I would say I'm giving the slight edge to the ProKennex. I just felt like it gave me a little more pace on the flat first serve, and just a little bit more juice on the ball overall, a little more power. Now they're both mostly control. Neither of them, like you were saying, were like spin monsters compared to a more open pattern, but I was able to work the slice and the kick serves in there pretty well with both. But just the slight edge for me when I was really trying to pancake and flatten the first serve, this one, the Kinetic mass built in, just came through the ball with a little more heat. And then in terms of serve returns, what you got there?
Wow, serve return. So I've really been trying to activate my top spin going over the top of the ball, particularly on my forehand. I've been doing it on my backhand. I actually had an easier time returning with the ProKennex racket a little bit. For whatever reason, maybe it was the dwell time. It is a little softer racket, so maybe it's giving me more purchase decision time over what I'm gonna do with my return. But again, I like both on the return, but I think I would give the slight edge to ProKennex for sure.
Nice. I think the same as well, and it's just this common story that I've been telling with this one is the way it comes through the ball, it just gives me a little easier depth, a little easier plow through, even though swing weights are similar. There's something about this racket, when you get it going, it kind of just carries through, and I think that worked good on my return. It's super comfortable. Slice was deep, although I do really love the crisper, slightly more pop feel when I hit this one cleanly. I think I might have to add just a little bit of weight right here in the hoop to give me that same kind of plow that I was getting from this. So overall on returns, I'm going the Kinex.
All right, that's 1 for 1 on returns for sure.
So let's just sum it up overall. If you're going to battle, you're gonna go play a match, whatever it is, which one of these two is gonna be in your bag?
Wow, I'm gonna have to go with the blade, but I have to say by a very slight margin. I would be very happy switching to this racket. I would play matches with it and would never blame anything on the racket. It's just a great feeling experience from anywhere in the court, whether I'm serving, volleying. I do agree with the Kinetic mass. I understand ProKennex probably loves to hear us say this, but I can't be sure. I feel like when you swing through the ball, that Kinetic mass kind of pins itself towards the tip and helps direct my shot. So I did feel like I had excellent control of the direction and depth of my shots with the ProKennex racket.
Okay, for me, I know it's crazy for me to think or even say this because I've had a lot of history at the blade. The blade's a super popular racket, but I'm gonna go with ProKennex on this one. This racket really won me over. They're both very similar, but I think just keeping my arm happy, keeping my wrist nice and comfortable, and then getting that little extra plow through has been really fun with this racket. I will also mention holding these rackets in hand. This one, the Kinetic has a slightly more rectangular palette shape. So I've kind of gotten used to that. That's the more traditional square
yep.
Wilson palette. But other than that, very similar rackets. I like both cosmetics for different reasons, but I guess I'd pick the Kinetic this time.
All right. And that's a wrap for today's review. For any further information on these rackets or anything else tennis related, be sure to visit Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.